Willie D. Live.
So yes, it makes me hot too. And in Washington, D.C., here's what I see happening there. The president is going to bring in all of these resources. Now, by the way, these resources can be of benefit, okay? He's going to bring in all these resources. If he really meant well, there's $1 billion that's supposed to go to Washington, D.C. that they can't get because the House of Representatives is holding that money up. They ought to let the $1 billion go in. We've got a mayor there that's capable, competent, and qualified. She can use that money to help lower the crime rate, even lower than it is. It is going down. They're lowering the crime rate in Washington, D.C. But here's what happens. They withhold funds. They don't give her enough money to do the job. And then they criticize the job not being done. And then they say, well, we can come in and do the job. But look at how he's doing it. He's bringing in 600 more National Guard troops. I mean, you bring in all of these resources and you're saying you couldn't do the job. You should have done the job. You got 35. He's been talking about 3,500 police officers. You got 3,500 police officers and you can't do the job. Well, if you see that, then give me some more resources and I'll do the job. But it's not just in Washington, D.C. This is what has happened to our universities. They've been underfunded. The schools in our communities are underfunded. When we elect people to office, they can't get the money into the areas that need it, and you see poverty. I don't see poverty when others see poverty. I see racism, because racism prevents us from dealing with the poverty. You can't get the money that you need to deal with the poverty. The way we deal with homelessness in this country is to criminalize it. We're going to put you in jail for being homeless now. At one time they were doing that. We're back to it again because the Supreme Court has now said that, if you provide a person with all of these various opportunities and they decline them, then you can lock them up again. So here we are back where we were some 15, 20 years ago. I say to you, dear brother, that this really is about America not having dealt with the question of race properly in this country, which is why I have legislation for what I call a Department of Reconciliation. I don't just look at this and do nothing. A Department of Reconciliation. By the way, it doesn't prevent us from getting reparations. I'm a real supporter of H.R. 40 for reparations. But it says that we would now have a Secretary of Reconciliation like we have a Secretary of Labor who reports directly to the president. And that person's job is to wake up every morning and say, how can I eliminate racism? What do I need to do? What do we need to recommend to Congress to eliminate racism and bigotry? And it exceeds the African-American community. It's beyond our community. What's happening to the Latino community? Every Latino is suspect now. I mean, when you can go up to people at a Home Depot and start questioning them simply because they're standing around waiting for work, that means that they're suspect. Just for standing around looking for work. You're supposed to have some kind of probable cause. You just don't walk up to me on the street and say, you look suspicious. Show me your papers. That's not a society we want to live in. So it really gets back to the race question, Department of Reconciliation. By the way, that's funded, and that funding attached to the Defense Department. For example, 10% of the Defense Department have the equivalent of that to go to this department. And it will always be funded because we're going to fund defense. So it will always be funded.